I didn't want to talk about losing tonight, but here it is. I'm talking about losing tonight. Nets fans, I didn't want to have a down conversation with you guys. Knicks fans, I didn't want to have a down conversation with you guys. I thought if I waited long enough, I would get a game where I could focus on some good things about the Knicks. The Knicks, it's a hard thing to have a podcast where a point of conversation is the Knicks right now. Nothing feels right. The player development doesn't feel right. And I understand it's like if Scott Perry and Steve Mills aren't the guy, I gotta actually hope that Jim Dolan will find the right guy. That guy will come in, spend 3 years fixing this thing, and then by then the Knicks will be 10, 11 years out the playoffs. So if you're a Knicks fan, your hope is Perry's going to work out. That Perry is the new Masai Ujiri. And he's going to first restore our reputation, and then second, he's going to find the superstars. It doesn't look good. I don't understand what the vision of the Knicks is. Like, this is our playing style. This is what our organization believes in. This is how we're going to do things. I think the sooner Dolan gets mad enough to fire them, that it gives you the opportunity to fill that void with the right guy. Because this is deeper than a day-to-day game with the Knicks. It's about philosophy. Now, in retrospect, I could move right on over to talking about the Nets. And I have to say, I have issues. First, let me give a little props to, let me not be all the way negative. Let me give a little props to Garrett Temple. Garrett Temple is what he is. He's a journeyman shooting guard that on a night-to-night basis, he'll break out a 20-point game. But that might be one every fourth game. See, that's what journeyman players do. You can't count on them every single game to be a steady contributor. They're there to do what Garrett Temple does. Fill in the blanks. Right? So, I could be mad about Garrett Temple, but in reality, what's to be mad at? Garrett Temple is a Garrett Temple. My challenge is when I look on the floor and there's Garrett Temple, there's Iman Shumpert, and there's David Nwaba all at the same time. One of those guys are going to suffer on any given day, depending on who they're guarding primarily and who's getting picked on the defensive end. See, the Nets have this philosophy, which is what I wanted to talk about, that I think will keep them from winning championships. If you notice, they played very competitively with, I can't say competitively. They were very competitive. Now, every tense of that word. They were very competitive with the Boston Celtics. You know, the man with the greatest shape up in that basketball world has ever seen. At least he's top 5. Jason Tatum. His lineup is immaculate. He gets his edge up with a ruler. His edge up is laser. Uses lasers to. Jason Tatum is modern day power forward. Faces the basket, dribble drives, a little undersized. But he's not big enough to cause the Nets any problems. Nets are always competitive with those guys. Right? We played some really great games, and I love watching the emergence of Dinwiddie. Wow. Spencer, you are what you are. And tonight we got to see what Spencer Dinwiddie is. You know, he's not Kyrie Irving. I wish Net fans will stop talking about starting Dinwiddie. Dinwiddie is an elite backup point guard. He would start. An elite backup point guard starts for 15 teams in the NBA. But Kyrie Irving starts for every single team in the NBA. If it's between him and Kemba, Kemba's the greatest six man that ever lived. If it's between him and Russell Westbrook, I am positive Mike D'Antoni would put Russell Westbrook in a catapult to be able to have Kyrie Irving. Well, maybe not. Maybe you know what? Maybe not. But Kyrie Irving in a D'Antoni system would be monstrous. It would be a thing to behold. And it's kind of like what he's in with the Nets. It sucks the life out of the team, I think. Because it's hard. It's hard when you play alongside of Kyrie Irving, because Kyrie is such a spectacle. Even if you're his teammate, you're sitting there watching him play like, what? Yeah, he does that in practice too. It's crazy, right? Kyrie Irving is who you want to be your starting point guard talent level to be. The sad thing about Kyrie is Dinwiddie is so much better of a defender than he is. Sometimes you can squint your eyes and feel like, Dinwiddie is a little bit, See, you can have Kyrie if you have a Tristan Thompson on your team. Right? If you have a player or a couple of players that are going to be right backing him up and basically curing any mistake Kyrie makes, because Kyrie is a god-awful defender. Lord, he's bad. I mean, we criticized D'Angelo Russell last year for his bad defense. Kyrie takes bad defense into a whole other... Kyrie makes his teammates bad defenders. The Boston Celtics are routinely, under Brad Stevens, routinely top 5 in defense efficiency. For periods of time last year, they weren't with Kyrie in the team. That's how bad of a defender that Kyrie is. And when you're as good of an offensive player as he is, it is the job of the coach. It is the job of whoever's putting the chess pieces on the table to go, I need to add these type of players around Kyrie Irving to ensure that I get every last bit of his genius and I don't have to worry about his flaws. That's not what's happening. So I would hope tonight kind of let everybody see, like, Spencer Dinwiddie is amazing. He may demand a max contract. That's how good he is. That's how hard he'll be to replace. That they're going to have to consider, because they're capped out forever. Right? So they're going to have to consider, in order to get better, what are we cashing out? Because what are you? What are the Nets? Right? Hopeful. Next year's team. When you do things like that, that's when you invite disaster. You have to take every single opportunity to try to be great. I don't like the team Sean Marks put around Kyrie Irving. Games like tonight should be winnable. The Heat aren't that good. It was right there. But sometimes you need that player that could get you a first down. And the Knicks only have people who can run out and get 20-yard passes. Right? They're shooting from deep with Joe Harris. And they ran a great play. Joe Harris took a shot that he was making all night. You know, from the top of the key. He was wide open, in rhythm. He shot a three, missed it. But it shouldn't have gotten to that. The Nets should have someone else besides Jarrett Allen that they could play as, I'm either going here or I'm going here. They should have versatility in their offensive system. And they do not. And good defensive teams like the Heat will adjust. And even though they can't score with the Nets, they will find a way to not let you score and grind out a win. If the Nets, just don't play games with my emotions. If the Nets were just a wait till next year team, then you should wait till next year for my money, for my interest, for all these jerseys I'm buying for these badass kids that I produced. Don't do a half-ass job and say, oh, well, you know, we just wait until next year. Put a team around Kyrie now. Because you're not promised a tomorrow with the player. You never know when a player just goes psycho. Loses it. Stops wanting to go to practice. Gets anxiety problems. Who knows? With Kyrie, it's all up in the air. Not saying that that's likely. But you got to get everything out of, like, this is really just, I feel, irresponsible of the Nets to field this team. I